Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 114. I'm Erik Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinitsky.
Did that start with me saying this is my HEP shirt?
No, I did. I started it just after that. Normally I do try to get your ridiculous quips in, but we failed this time. So.
Yeah, no, it's a navy blue shirt with pizzas all
A
over
bunch
it.
of little pizzas.
Yeah,
Imagine a pizza slice the size of the Polo logo, but plastered all over the shirt in a 2-inch radius.
No, HEP always wears these ridiculous shirts. I wanted to get on his level, so.
Is he going to be at Cars and Craft tonight?
He better be.
Sorry, Jana, I had your mic. What was that?
I said, "Excuse me, sir. It was a gift."
Yeah, thank you, sweetie. I love you.
You mean a gift?
A gift,
It was
yes.
a gift.
I think I might have driven my old IT guy to quitting because I made him say GIF in traffics so much. But whatever, you know.
It's fine.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, I want to quick plug Patreon before we start.
Let's do that for
So
you.
Patreon is a online means for content consumers like you to support content creators like us directly. If you go to patreon.com/carbitrage, CARBITRAGE, you can view our two current levels, which are $1.50 a month and $5 a month. If you don't want to do it, no big deal. We'll keep making the podcast. But if you do, it will give us more opportunity to buy better beer and maybe eventually even use some money for the show for traveling and things. So
It will. Well, I'm planning on traveling, so yeah, it will help me travel.
Yeah.
You will actually see more cool stuff from this podcast and from our website too.
Well, either way, the beer,
Yes.
it'll help us not spend our vacation money on beer. So.
And it will help her get more dehydrated. So it'll be fun.
I did switch to a beer this episode, so if I pass out, take me to the hospital.
All right, cool. I've got a van for that specific purpose.
Awesome. All right, let's.
I'm gonna start out with my topic.
Sounds good.
So I've kind of been, back to the 50s always gets me. It's like kind of weird for me.
Okay.
Because I really want to get a car for driving around there, and there's like a handful of American cars I really, really, really want.
Okay.
However, that being said, I also have like my public reputation for being like Mr. Import guy. And that kind of leads me to be like kind of to start digging for import cars I could bring to back to the 50s.
Which is 1964 and prior.
Yeah, 1964 and prior, yes. So I was wondering, because this actually leads to a really good question, is what would be like a good import car? Like, what would you actually buy for driving back to the 50s?
A Citroen 2CV.
2CV, all right. Jana, you would probably do a Mercedes 200 Fintail?
I thought you would
Yes.
take a DS.
220
Yes,
Fintail?
I mean, I would take really anything, but I think the Mercedes Fintail is just.
But not a DS.
I would do a DS. I mean, anything that's gonna make me look like Spy Barbie, I'm down for.
I gotcha. Okay.
My choice, actually, I've been kind of floating around because what I was actually really looking for is I want to get either a Subaru 360, a Honda. Actually, the Hondas are later. Either a Subaru 360 or a Toyota Crown or a Corona. I actually really
Surprised they made those marks that early on.
I wanted, the first year of the RT40 Corona was 1964. They debuted it for the Tokyo Olympics.
That's a pretty modern car to have it back to the 50s.
That's why I noticed is like 64 is like a really kick-ass cutoff because like you get a lot of cool cars in 64. So you had the Datsun Roadster in 64. They had that. The body style lasted until 68 was 64, 68. But actually, I recently come across one when I was in conversation with Ben from JNC because I was talking to him about remember on 4th of July I was talking about Japanese cars that have been in production for more than a decade.
Yep.
Like
We're
unchanged.
talking about like the R35.
Yeah, it's like the R35 is like the longest production Japanese car to be unchanged imported to America. And he's like, yeah, they have a ton of those in Japan though. So that's actually a really good point. It's like the Toyota Crown, the Century, a lot of those cars like that. And he mentioned the Mitsubishi Debonair. And I've totally forgot that I like that car.
Yeah,
But
you've actually brought it up on the podcast before.
if you could bring up what the first generation Debonair was, can you type in 1964 Mitsubishi Debonair? And then bring it up on the screen. Because this is one I really want. It's got an inline six. It's a monocoque chassis. It's got a manual transmission option and double wishbone front suspension. And it looks literally identical to a 61 Continental.
Except way smaller.
Yeah, it's a
gonna grab
really,
this one.
really, really small Continental.
I actually just did a quick search, and I found that BMW debuted their 1800 Neue Klasse in 1964.
Oh, there
So
you go.
I actually might change my answer to that, because that's a really modern car.
Yeah, it's very cool. But here, why don't you do the screen grab so people can actually see what the Debonair looks like?
Yeah,
Like
so-
when I say it looks like a
Boom.
61 Continental.
No
it looks-
suicide doors, though, and
Yeah.
it has a B-pillar.
Yep, and it does have a B pillar. No suicide doors. Inline six. Actually,
Fender mirrors.
fender mirrors, and shockingly close performance statistics. Actually, because it has the same power to weight ratio. almost exactly. So the 7-liter Ford engine was 50 horsepower per liter.
Yeah, that was not a high-tech engine.
No, and this one is 55 horsepower per liter.
I gotcha.
And this one weighs like about half, actually a little bit less than half. It weighs about 2,500 pounds, whereas the Continental was like 4,800. So this one's actually probably a little bit faster. And it came with a manual transmission option.
Very
As
good.
opposed to being forced to have a 3-speed auto.
Ugh, and a Ford 3-speed auto.
But they put this in production from 1964 until 1987.
No way.
Yeah,
They
seriously.
made that through 87?
Yeah.
Must have been a repressed country.
No, it's because in Japan, for their hyper executive cars, they, you know how we always get really shocked when we see a Mercedes come out with a completely different body style?
Yeah.
So in Japan, it's like exponentially more than that. So that's why they keep them forever. It's like the first generation Toyota Century was in production until the 90s, like the late 90s.
Actually, I've kind of,
Yeah.
I could see that.
So, but the Debonair, the Debonair, you could get it. The only thing is that as the Century got better, the Debonair got worse. So like the late 80s ones only came with a 4-cylinder and they're like way slower.
Gross. No, you gotta have a 6-cylinder.
They got rid of the automatic or the manual option. It's just like automatic only 4-cylinder.
Oh.
But it's like the early ones, the early Debonair would be a really, really cool car.
Yeah. I
And
could see
they're
that.
actually really popular in Japan for hot rodding and stuff and for like custom car culture because
I
they're
can see they would probably look super cool.
yeah, they look really rad when you see them like customed out, and then when you do that, but the thing is, what's really important about it is it falls within the 2-liter tax category.
Oh,
So
is it 2-liter inline 6?
yeah, it's a 2-liter inline six, whereas like a 7-liter engine
Yeah.
is insane. Especially
Yep.
a 7-liter engine in a 50-year-old car is totally insane to insure and run on the road in Japan.
Yeah, and the fact that it probably requires tetraethyl fuel to keep the valve seats in place and all that kind
You
of stuff.
you can redo them. Usually by the time you do that, you've redone the valve seats, so they've got rebuild kits and everything for the V8s. But yeah, so these are like super popular in Japan. People lowrider them. They custom them out. They chop the roofs on them.
So they do what people do to old 60s American cars. But
Yeah,
over
like
there.
early 50s and 60s American cars. It's really cool to see what they do in Japan. Yeah, I really want to build one like that style, Japanese custom style, for like back to the 50s and just
I would
cruise
just drive
around.
that stock.
Yeah, I mean, stock the car looks awesome. Yeah,
And yeah, I would definitely do that.
a new class would be really
Neue
cool.
Klasse, yeah.
That's a really, really, really.
And that
cool
one's
car.
very tasteful. That one's got the driving lights. It's lower just a little bit, but that's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's for like road rally.
Talk about a modern car. Wow.
That's for like. Well, did they ever run that in the Carrera Panamericana? 'Cause I think they
Probably.
Did
They
that
did a bunch of racing with the
because
Neue
the
Klasse.
Carrera Panamericana ended in like 65 or 66, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also,
But,
they still run that race.
yeah, they do.
I really want to go to it.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I mean,
'Cause-
with unlimited money, I would go to all these things.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list of things I really want to go to. Would be the Carrera Panamericana. Plus, Jan likes going to Mexico, so it'd be a great way to get me to go to Mexico.
I do
Oh,
love
it sounds like a happy
Mexico.
accident.
Yeah, it's a,
I
we-
do love Mexico.
weird, honey. I've got a '53 Bel Air, and it's all prepped for Carrera Panamericana. And weird,
Strange.
it's happening in Mexico this year. Maybe we should go. Maybe it ends in Tulum.
Doesn't it
Where you want
It
to
actually ends in the Yucatan. Yeah,
Oh.
it goes from Texas down through Mexico and ends in southern Mexico. Yeah. It's like,
like
there's
that.
one. It's
I'm-
one road.
I'm practicing my Spanish because our preschool teacher that spoke Spanish fluently left, so now I have to fill in for her.
So so
Donde
yeah,
está la zapateria?
the Carrera Panamericana goes down the Pan American Highway through Mexico, which goes from Texas, or not, sorry, from I think Mexicali, which is in Baja, all the way down Mexico, and then crosses over and ends like around like Aruba.
Okay.
So yeah, it's actually a really cool race, and it's for cars that the only cars that are allowed in are cars that were made in era.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I would take a 2CV.
You would be able to finish a race with that. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
bring a bunch of extra fuel and you'd be fine.
That and actually be in a really interesting class too. So that totally
Right?
work out.
You actually might be okay. I mean, yeah, in the lowest power class ever.
Yeah, and be able to do it for a reasonable amount of money. Yeah. Anyway, so there we go. Back to
2CV
the
is a
50s.
strong second
Yes.
for me, but yeah, I would go with the 9 Class.
That'd be a very, very cool car.
I agree. I would kind of want one. I think Steve Peterson at Blunt Tech just bought one of those. Anyway, I want to talk about something that we kind of came up with on the 4th of July in my backyard, which was, I think we were talking about Subarus,
Yes.
and then we were talking about BMWs, and then we were talking about, inevitably, reliability. And I let slip something that I had kind of used as a metric when I don't know very much about a car, and I need to either recommend it or not recommend it to somebody, is I will go on a auto parts reseller website
Or a car part.
like car-part.com, and I will look at how much engines cost on
Yes.
average for this car. And my rule of thumb is if these engines are by and large more than $1,000, the car is not reliable.
Yes.
And if they're less than $1,000, they're very reliable. So I don't really have to look too much into what goes wrong with the cars.
Well, I think more than that, you can just say this is what the maintenance cost is going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things where if you look up an EJ25D,
Yeah.
an NA twin cam EJ Subaru engine from the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, they're insane.
They're like $2,300 a piece for
Yeah.
a regular run-of-the-mill, no-frills Subaru.
And
then
the
I pointed,
257's like even more.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get one of the turbo 2.5s, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the single cams and the closed deck engines are free because there
Yeah.
are tons of them.
Well, LSs they're like BOGO
Yeah.
for like a 6-liter LS.
Exactly, because they never
literally
break.
are BOGO at
Like-
some junkyards.
BMW inline 6s,
Yeah.
the non-turbo ones specifically, they're way under $1,000 for any of them
Yeah.
because they don't break. I mean, the rest of the car may have issues, but
There are some that are expensive just because they're highly sought after.
yeah, or rare or stuff like that. Like an RB is
or
a really
GC
reliable engine,
engines are,
right?
are kind of
But
expensive.
you can get a 2JZ VVTi for $700 easy.
Yes.
So those are still sub $1,000.
Not GE though, not
no,
turbo.
GTE.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, last time I looked, I was shocked at how cheap they were.
Well, the VVTi GT is the one you don't want, so
Right.
that's fine.
So, yep.
You put that.
was a very important distinction. Yeah.
Yeah. The non VVTis are insane, but
yes.
I think if you're gonna be getting a 2JZ, you should probably just get a 1GZ, the V12, because those are
Yep.
really cheap, like really, really, really cheap.
Mhm.
Because I was looking at them on a hunch for the Cressida, just be like, yeah, wonder how much that would be, and they're like whole swap, like wiring harness, ECU, and transmission, albeit automatic transmission, but whatever.
Right.
But for everything to put one in your car and get it going, it's like $3,000 for all of it. That's like nothing.
Well, I mean, it comes with an auto, and bolting a manual to it isn't that hard, but you do have to buy adapter plates.
But I mean, like if you just want to get it going,
Right.
like
Yeah,
that's
it's cheap. Last we looked up on the podcast, you could get a JDM dropout with 30,000 miles for
really cheap.
$1,400.
Yeah.
Delivered.
But that's another example of engine that's unbelievably reliable.
Yep. And they don't make a lot of power stock, but they're 1J heads.
Yeah, well, the whole thing, the whole engine's 1J everything, except they have a different crankshaft and slightly different
They have different
rod
rods.
bearings, but the pistons, everything else, pistons up are all 1J.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, it's actually one of those engines where it's if you uncork them and if you can actually put on 2 1J turbo manifolds, and then
Can you?
oh yeah,
I mean,
the
I know you
heads
could
and
bolt
everything.
it. Well, yeah, but one of them is reverse flow or flip the other way. So they actually use the exhaust.
Nope, they're actually both the heads are the same direction.
So
'cause-
they have an intake on the side on one side, and they have it in the middle on
Oh
the
no,
other?
yeah, you are right. Yep, they are flipped around, but the way the exhaust mounts up.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's not like a stagger mount. It's just it's like an LS manifold where you can flip
exactly.
it. Okay.
Yep. So, but yeah,
Well, that's
it's
pretty neat.
Yeah, it's really cool. So you can actually just throw it on, and that's how Top Secret made their 1,000 horsepower Supra. So
With a V12?
yeah, the top secret Supra was 1,000 horsepower, like 2001. Yeah, it's a V12, very lightly modified, with like 2 turbochargers on it, running race gas, with like a cam, and it made 1,000 horsepower. Because that's the ticket to make
NA?
5. Yeah, no, turbocharged.
I was going to say, I'm
But
like, that seems like it should make more than that.
That's the ticket, but I mean just mildly modified because like that's the ticket to 500 horsepower 1J,
Right.
and now you just times that by 2.
Well, maybe after I throw my flathead V8 in an E36, I'll find something to do with a 1GZ.
I'm gonna put into a Cressida like I want to.
No.
Just
I'm
say
not like
grandpa-
super into
A grandpa
JDM
sedan.
chassis, but
No, it's an American one. The Cressida.
whatever. Yeah, I would do it in like an E28 or something.
That'd be hilarious.
Oh, actually, I have somebody I need to text right now.
Anyway, so I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna say the Man in the High Castle. I'm like super behind the just behind the trend on this because I just started watching it. Watched episode 1 and part of episode 2 last night.
So what is that?
It's a Amazon series about America if America had lost World War II.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been broken up by Germany and Japan. And it's the 1960s at this point. And the car spotting is unreal. It is so good. So, like, in the Japanese sector, like, America's split down the Rocky Mountains. The Japanese sector, I spotted a bunch of really good stuff in episode 1. I texted it all to Jana. I did. We had a conversation about it. Where is it? All right. So, I spotted 2 Subaru 360s.
Okay.
3 Deschevaux, 2 Messerschmitts, a Lancia Aurelia convertible, and a Headmuller Beetle.
What is a Headmuller Beetle?
Look, bring it up. HEB.
Never mind, I don't care.
It's actually really cool. It's a really dope convertible 2-door Beetle.
Typing on this keyboard makes me lose the will to live.
It's a 2-door convertible Beetle. It's incredibly rare from the early 1950s. You would have to actually specifically have them coach built from Headmuller.
Oh.
Like they did not. They made them tote order.
So it wasn't
only.
like a dealer inventory vehicle.
No, it's like you had to go to Headmuller and make it.
I gotcha.
And they were very, very cool cars. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. And like, 62 Bel Air was in there. Like they had it's really weird how they did a really, really good job.
I'm sure there's like a full-time employee or 2.
Well, I mean, as opposed to how Stranger Things does it, where every now and then they'll slip something in that's post 1984. This one, they did a really good job. So I'm very, very happy.
I like when people have attention to detail.
Yeah, if you ever want to watch it, Man in the High Castle, season 1 at least is really good. It could just fall off a cliff by now,
but it hasn't.
Season 1 so far, pretty good.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know if that would have been a good thing for me to watch last week when I was at home a bunch more.
Oh yeah, I know,
whoops.
right? Well, maybe you'll get to hydrate again.
Great, yeah, thanks. Don't put that on me, man. So, you know how Ford canceled like all of their cars, right?
Yeah.
In our country? Well, that's my shitty segue. But they have actually licensed Volkswagen's MEB electric vehicle modular chassis for new vehicles in Europe and China for Ford. So
Pause. Captive importing is the first sign of the death throes of a car brand.
Well, I mean, Ford and Mazda back in the Ranger days and the Navajo.
Yeah, Mazda was on their deathbed. Well, to be fair, Mazda was owned by Ford. Well, like, we'll get...
Yeah, that's
right.
true. Yeah.
There's a truck driving down the train track.
Oh, we should have pulled our fake horn hands.
I know, right?
Ah.
So the, Chrysler in the 70s was doing Mitsubishis.
Oh, yes.
Saturn, right before they died, was doing a bunch of Opels
Yep.
and Vauxhalls and such.
Yep.
Isuzu, before they pulled out of America, they just did a bunch of Hondas.
Yep. The
Like that-
Passport.
Yeah, like the death throes, like
Can you
Suzuki.
imagine what a Honda Vehicross would have looked like?
No, it would have been really cool. Like Suzuki, they were doing Kias, weirdly enough. Like that's the death throes of a company is them captive importing. So
Scion was doing Mazdas, or other way around.
Yeah, no, they did Mazda. Yeah, because
Yep.
the Scion IM was a Mazda too,
Yep.
and that's
Yep.
right before they died.
Yep.
Every time a company's about to die, they start doing captive imports.
So, the Fiata.
No, that was made especially for Fiat, 'cause they use a Fiat engine.
Oh, okay. Good.
And that was in partnership with Mazda. Mazda's
Also,
really,
that is a damn good car.
that's totally different. But if it was like Fiat, like captive importing a Mazda 2 to replace the Fiat 500, that's the death throes of a company. Because usually you do that if you don't have enough money to actually make your own car. And there's no profit margin in captive import. That's just the sign of dying.
Right.
Yeah. So that's worrisome.
It is. They're not putting it in very many markets, and I don't think it's going to be very many vehicles.
Wait, it's in Ford in Europe, right?
Europe and China. So I mean,
So
it's going to be.
Ford's trying to pull out of Europe because they are
so there you
foolish.
go. So
there you go.
they don't want to spend all
That's
the
right.
money.
That's right.
Yeah. So and we're not getting it here because we sell F-150s. Great.
Stupid.
But I don't know. I mean, we were talking last time we brought up MEB, which is the platform that's underneath, I think, the Buzz, but not the ID. This is the bigger one. We were wondering how Volkswagen was going to manage to make electric vehicles unreliable. So now the rest of the world's going to have really unreliable Ford EVs too.
Perfect. So that's going to ruin Ford's reputation even more.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
there you go. I don't know why they've done that, but there you go. Ford is buying technology licenses from a company that doesn't know how to make anything run.
So we've talked a lot about 2JZs
We
and
have.
about Toyota things in general. I want to bring up that the 90s Supras are continuing to go insane. One sold at auction for $176,000.
That must have been like completely bone stock, super low miles.
No,
No?
it's in like all right condition. It was the right place at the right time. If you scroll down, like it's insane. It's got like 60,000
It's got like
miles.
chrome
on it.
wheels on it.
Well, that's factory.
Ugh.
It has a factory option, but like it's got kind of a dirty engine bay.
Yeah, it's got some dirt on it for sure.
And if you scroll down, it is manual, which is huge, and it's the right color,
It's a
black.
V160. Yeah, black and black's
yeah,
nice.
69,891 miles.
Huh.
And I think it's actually lowered too.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like
And
it
it
is.
does have an exhaust on it.
What
So
the hell?
lowered with an exhaust at 70,000 miles. It's now a $200,000 car.
This is getting out of control.
Yeah.
They're good cars, but they are not that good.
This guy's going to lose money on this.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna air cool soon.
Yeah.
I mean like
Well, I don't think-
964s. I mean they peaked. I mean they're not gonna lose value long term, but like
They're going to stay. They're
you're
stagnant.
going to see a little bit of a dip. It's like this thing's like Bitcoin right now. I mean you're gonna see a bit of a drop
my
off.
Bitcoin's like awesome right
dude,
now.
yeah, oh, dude, it's great.
Yeah, right now I'm sitting at $11,000 per Bitcoin. I put $40 in right after they fell off a cliff. So it's like my $40.
I thought you were gonna say you had 11 grand in Bitcoin. I'm like,
No,
jeez.
if I had 11 grand Bitcoin, I'd be living in a house right now, of my own. But no, I turned $40 into like 75.
Yeah, Bitcoin's at 11,557 at time of.
Yeah, as of right now.
Time of
yeah.
recording.
As of Saturday at 12:33 or 1:33.
I have $2,700 in Bitcoin.
Wow, you have a lot more than me.
I have a fair bit of crypto, but there are people at my work that have like more than $100,000 crypto.
What?
Like, yeah, like people that mined like 5 years ago,
Please share.
and they held on to it.
Wow, I would probably get out of it now.
No, he's hanging on to it. But anyway, I mean, this is.
Well, no,
we're not going to talk about crypto right now, but I mean, it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. So
But
if
yeah,
you guys
so-
aren't into that.
Yeah, no, these are yeah, just it's got like a lot of miles on it. It's like it's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, also you click on "Don't Say We Didn't Warn You."
Did we already cover this article?
I just want to say, oh damn it, it's Patrick's article. I thought it was gonna be mine. Basically, everybody at JNC at some point has said something about the Supra.
Yeah,
Just
V160
gonna-
Supras they're a safe place to store your money right now, but that's
know,
too much for that car.
I would put my money into a 3000 GT or a FDRX7. Actually, I'd put my money into FDRX7 for a 3000 GT.
I would put money into an E39 M5.
Or,
A really
I'm just
nice
talking
one.
about just the Japanese ones.
Ah,
Yeah, that'd be what I'd do.
a really clean 300 ZX twin turbo. Z32.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
They're not
They're very
overblown yet. They're still a pretty good buy.
Well, the issue with those is they're just like unbelievable to maintain.
Oh, I know.
So difficult.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think that's gonna keep their price down. No, actually,
that's the same thing as the 355.
Blob Eye STI, not the Hawkeye.
Yep. Yeah, the 0405.
The very first one, because the Blob Eye, even though you like the Hawkeye more, the Blob Eye is the
Blob
one
Eye is a
that
classy looking car.
the more people like the Blob Eye, and it's like I prefer the second gen over the fourth gen Supra, but
I think
I'm
Jade
not.
has a Blob Eye.
I'm not gonna ever pretend that second gen's ever be worth more than fourth gen. But yeah, the Blob Eye is a
The engines are very expensive for those cars.
yes. But if you can find a Blob Eye STI in World Rally Blue or in Pearl White with a clean title and low
And
miles
no rust.
and no rust, unmodified,
Buy it,
Yeah.
and then do not drive it.
literally buy that right now.
And then
Good.
park it. Do not touch it, because it'll blow up.
It's gonna be like an Integra Type R.
Yeah, except unreliable.
They don't have issues until 80K. And by the time you're at 80K, you've already annihilated the value of the car. So it's like,
That's true.
but yeah, an Integra Type R is another one of those cars where I said that years ago and everybody laughed at me. I was right.
Well, I mean, even the EM1 SI, I'm just like, that's a good car.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, it's a lot of people like back in high school. I was like, yeah, no. If I had an EM1 SI, I would not touch it. And one of my friends from Auto Tech, like way back in the day, Cody Scott, he had an EM1 and he'd put on error correct mods and they were all unboltable things. He kept everything they took off like
Good man.
hermetically sealed.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, now my car's like stock. If I were to throw it into auction right now, I'd pay for every single mod I've ever done, all of my maintenance,
Yep.
all of the gas I've put into the car, and my purchase price of the vehicle.
Yep.
Since I've owned it new, and this is my daily driver for years.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's probably got some miles on it.
Yeah, it's on second time belt. It's I think 130 or so.
But yeah, keeping the mods. I remember when I was first modifying like the MR2s, like I kept all the stuff I took off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know why I kept it, but I'm like, oh, this feels like I shouldn't throw this away.
Yeah.
I think with the exception of stock wheels, I sold that stuff off.
Yeah.
But you can usually find stock wheels. I don't know. It's if you're pro tip, if you're gonna mod a car that
Yeah.
might appreciate, keep all of the stock parts.
Yeah.
I was scrapping catalytic converters a couple days ago just because I had way too many in my garage, and I had a fair pile of cats from BMA. From MAP, just like doing downpipes on cars or whatever, and they pull the cats out. And I had two sets of BMW N54, like the 1M, downpipes. I cut one set up and brought them in, and I kept the other set just because it's the same downpipes as my car. I'm like, well, whatever, maybe have
Just
a spare
in
set's
case, yeah.
good. Turns out they're pretty small cats, and whatever they put in those things made them like 3 times as valuable as every other cat I brought in.
That's awesome.
So I'm contemplating cutting apart the other set of downpipes now and scrapping them because it's like $360 for 2 tiny cats.
What?
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
insane.
I know. So if you have an N54 set of downpipes, just cut them up and bring them to a scrap dealer because apparently it's worth some really good beer money.
Yeah, that's a lot of beer money.
It's a ton of beer money. Yeah, this is my pro tip. There you go.
There you go. That is a Carbitrage top tip.
So speaking of things you should do and then shouldn't do, BMW, in our last episode, we talked about the, electroradioactive kidney grills or whatever
Yeah.
that light up. They released a concept to the world based on the X7, which is the most heinously ugly BMW ever produced, and this is a pickup truck version of that vehicle. What in God's name? I thought this was an April Fool's joke, and then I saw it was July. So like this just dropped, and it's a concept, but like do not make that.
That's
Why
really
would-
bad. You know what that looks like? That's a BMW Baja.
It's a BMW. What's the Honda Ridgeline?
No, it's a
Yeah.
BMW Baja 'cause it's got a worthless bed. A Ridgeline you can actually use the bed in.
Yeah, but it looks more like a Ridgeline.
Yeah, but
It
it's
does
got.
look
But yeah, it's
I don't know,
useless like a Baja.
No, that looks more like a Baja.
I
'Cause
disagree.
That chassis to bed ratio. Oh, here, go to that side
It's
profile.
a quad cab, so it looks like a.
All right, now bring up a
Would you have
Baja.
to
Bring up a
agree-
Baja in a separate tab, and we'll flip back and forth, okay? Because it looks like a Subaru Baja.
I'm also gonna bring up a Ridgeline.
So here, there's a perfect the Amazon, the top one right there. Click that.
This one. I'm sorry for you podcast listeners. This is gonna be really boring for you.
We just have to prove that I'm right.
No, I just have to prove that
No.
I'm right by bringing up the Ridgeline as well.
Because
To be fair, bring up the first gen Ridgeline.
No.
Because it's close.
No.
No, the first gen Ridgeline's closer to what you're looking for.
I disagree.
This one has a full size detached bed.
This one looks.
it looks just like the Ridgeline. Like, my dad has that
Alright.
exact color blue
Other than these
Ridgeline.
bar things, it looks just like a 2019 Ridgeline
Yeah.
with a shorter
Yeah,
bed.
all right, I'll give you that. Okay, you're
This
right.
has got a little more car angle swoop to it.
Yeah,
So
no,
if the Ridgeline and the Baja had a baby.
As I say, like if you
And
took,
then you stapled some gigantic corporate grills on the front of it.
Yep.
The crappy part is, like, if this
who
didn't...
is in charge of BMW's design right now?
Actually, if I do my bonus topic, we'll talk about that. And they just quit.
Yeah. Did
Well,
they
not the
really?
design, but the CEO just resigned.
Yeah, I would too. Fuck, I don't want to be around that. It's awful.
That actually makes me... Anyway, so there you go. There's a Ridgeline. There's this
Did he
terrible...
resign or did he get fired?
He resigned. But we'll get to that. I'll do my bonus topic. We got time. So
Yeah, we
there you
can
go.
do that
Do
then.
not make that.
That's
Don't make this terrible, ghastly, horrible thing.
Because
That's
you're trying to
really,
get
really,
into
really
the
bad.
Ridgeline market, but you're going to be like 3 times the price. So just
that bed
stop.
looks awful. They
Ah.
phoned it in with the rear really bad.
Yeah, it looks like it's got like cut down Rolls-Royce eBay taillights for a Chrysler 300. It's bad. It's really bad. So do not do that. BMW, don't do that. I beg of you.
Well, on a different topic.
Hopefully something more good.
This one's not good, but it's really humorous.
Okay, well, that's fine.
I had a Forza race get ruined by a moth attack.
You did what and who?
So I was playing Forza Horizon 4.
Okay, thank you.
Because
for
I
that.
finally got over the whole Lego update, and they did a Top Gear update now, and then they updated it where it's like now you can actually do rivals races and stuff at, like per class, as opposed to like predetermined things, which is really stupid. Yeah, like it's just think about that. Like you could not do time trial by class.
That's what time trials are.
I know, but so like you would go to a race and click rivals and say, how fast can you take a 2017 Mercedes C65 AMG around the race course? I know car doesn't exist. Around the race course. Like, play with your friends and see who's faster. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Give me D class. I want to take a De Chauveau around the entire effing map.
Corey was streaming Forza last night, I think, or maybe it was some other racing game. He's like, what should I race? I'm like, get your slowest car on your longest track and do that.
Yes.
And he looked, and like the slowest car was a 2002 Turbo. Like, isn't that slow? And luckily they had Nürburgring in there.
That's
But-
not. That's probably Project Cars too then.
and he was racing a bunch of F-150s. Ford F-150s.
So,
Because it was the only other slow class thing in the game.
see, this is why I play Forza.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm so frustrated that they don't take themselves... Like, there needs to be somewhere between Need for Speed and Project Cars. I want to be able to take stupid cars...
That's automation.
Well, no, I
Or
want to...
BeamNG.
I want to take stupid cars in realistic physics around an open world.
Okay.
Like, that's what Forza is supposed to be. But anyway, we're not talking about that. What I'm talking about is my horrible, horrible race with a moth attack. So I'm racing. I built this really, really great Tamo Racimo, which is an Indian...
What an incredible name.
If you should bring it up while I'm talking about this. Because it's an Indian concept car that never went into production by Tata. Tata Nano's parent company.
You always, without fail, pick cars that have the stupidest spelled names ever.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like,
Without
they're
fail.
not phonetic. It doesn't make any sense. Granted, it's not English or, America vehicles.
Could you have got a smaller photo?
Fuck off.
Jesus.
It's fine.
Well, here, I guess we should bring up the photo in here so people can see what we're talking about. That's a Tamo Racimo. Yeah, so it's this mid-engine rear-wheel drive car. It excels in rallying, and everybody sleeps on it. Anyway, so I built it. And since I've been winning with it, I give it special livery. So it's red with gold accents. So, like, the entire roof, everything on that car, it's red, and that photo's gold. Like, it's awesome. It's got the Carbitrage logo, but it's in Indian flag colors. It's amazing. Anyway,
This sounds terrible.
so I'm doing really good in this race.
You're doing really well.
Yeah, I'm in third place for the championship online. The two dudes that are ahead of me, One guy's a level 7, the other guy's a level 9. I'm level 12. Levels go backwards. Closer to one that you get, the better you are. It's really,
like golf.
really weird. And it's like once you're past like level like 14, it's super hard to level up because you have to win them. You have to get first place in the majority of your races. Like podium doesn't count anymore.
You must do better than podium.
Yeah, like you actually have to win. And so I'm sitting there in third place. The separation between me and first place is 8 points. So I really have to just stay in podium for this last race. The dude that is in first place crashed out early on, and now he's in the back of the pack.
Because he's a rube.
The guy that's in second place is 2 spots behind me in fifth, and I got a couple like randos in front of me. Like I don't care.
You have no points in the game. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah. Like you guys are in like 7th and 8th place. Like I'm not worried about you at all. And so I'm like, we're probably about like 70% done with this giant race, and it's the Gauntlet race, which is the longest off-road race in the game. And I'm doing really well, and I'm coming across a really cornery bit, and a moth comes out of nowhere and flies at my face, hits me in the eye. I'm like, what the fuck? I look up, my car is now crashed into a wall. Now I have a time penalty where my car has like 20 horsepower for the next 5 seconds because I hit a wall. And then the moth flies at the screen, then bounces back at me and starts attacking me. And I'm like sitting there trying to win this race. And I'm like sitting here, like one hand, like swinging the controller around, trying to hit the moth while swinging the controller around. And I'm trying to stay in place, and I'm like spinning around in circles and stuff, crashing into trees. And I'm like, by the time I get this moth to go the fuck away, I'm like in like 7th place again. And now I'm like, all right, now it's just uphill from here. And so I'm like hammering through, and I'm just like passing dudes left and right. I'm like, I'm in the final 5% of the race, and I've finally worked my way back into 2nd place. And there's 4 more corners, and the fucking moth comes back, flies into my ear, and I'm like, I fuck him out of my ear, and then I swing at him, and then my car hits the wall, and the last 1/8 of a mile of straightaway, and just falls on its face, and some boob in a Hot Wheels car, the Bone Shaker, comes by and just blows past me as I'm crossing the finish line. And I got 3rd. I was so mad. But I think Forza saw what was happening. I saw I did really well in all my races until that very last one. And so I got plus 9 points.
Yeah, I'm sure Forza's keeping track of how well you've done in your prior races.
Actually, no, it does, because it's a ranked lobby. And so I got plus 9 points, and I have to get like another 80 to rank up again. But it's just like, ugh. It was so frustrating. That moth, I found it later at night, and I killed it.
Good. Hopefully with like a flame.
No, I saw it, and I finally found it. I was like whacking everything in my room to try and get him to come out, and I finally found him. He flies between a bag of Hot Wheels and a bookshelf, and I crush him against it. I go up to him and go, look at me. I am the captain now.
Look at me, Irish. I'm Captain now. That was a good movie. Captain Phillips, is that what that was?
Something like that.
I watched that at the last time I went to a cinema grill.
Oh, before they closed down.
I think there's still one left.
Oh, weird.
I don't know why, but like,
yeah.
I enjoyed those. But I mean, they were like
They're
really
coming back.
really crappy at the end.
Yeah,
I hope they are, because I actually like the concept, but
Yeah, I don't think the
Motion
same
notifications.
brand is, or
well,
company.
I'm sure they went bankrupt, so it probably has to be something else.
Anyway, so that was my moth attack. It was terrible.
Fair enough. I guess I'll just use that as a transition
God.
into my my final bonus story, and this was about BMW CEO stepping down after a too cautious strategy loses market share. This mainly is in relation to electric vehicle strategy. Oh, excuse me. So the BMW i division and their electrified plug-in hybrids and things like that, they were kind of not first to market, but pretty close.
Yeah.
The Nissan Leaf beat the i3 to the market, but they were right on the forefront with a lot of really great ideas, lightweight composites, but they stagnated. They didn't update them, And because of that, they're losing massive EV market share right now. And apparently there was some pressure put on the CEO guy to leave. I'm just going to tell myself that he got ousted because he put too many giant kidney grills on cars.
Yeah.
Like
Well, look
this
at the
terrible
picture of-
concept.
That's disgusting.
It's really, really bad. Whoever thought this was a good idea just needs to go away.
I really hope they
forever.
give that guy unnecessary chemotherapy.
I hope they put him in a cell with Carlos Ghosn.
God, that'd be great. Like, put him, Mary Barra, Carlos Ghosn all into a cell together. Oh, I got a good idea.
It'd be a good reality TV show.
No, and you have them fight to the death, and whoever kills the other two wins.
What do they win?
Freedom.
Oh, okay, great. They can't go back to their job, but at least they get to live.
That'd be wonderful.
Wow,
And then
that
put-
sounds really brutal.
Then put that on Motor Trend on demand.
Then always look for your consumer advice and forward-thinking news here at Carbitrage. I have no idea. I don't know how to respond to that.
So it's somewhere between consumer news and the real life version of Running Man.
Yeah,
That's very close.
yeah, that's a pretty way. I actually like it more that way.
That's
It
the
blends
way
in
to
much better with that banner.
All right.
Anyway,
well,
let's move on to the what we learned segment.
well, you started it, so what'd you learn?
Well, it's only been a couple hours since last week.
Okay, so would you like us to throw it on
Yeah.
Jana again? Jana, what'd you learn? You didn't say
What did
much.
I
she
this
learn?
learned
episode,
so much more about stuff during the week.
Wait, can
I've
talk
got
about
it.
my Sims again.
Do it.
I found out that my Sims is broken because my
Is virtual Ryan being the bane of your virtual existence again by flirting with virtual women?
no, but ladies keep on asking to come over. It's interesting. Update: we're married
This is
now.
accurate.
He aged up and he didn't have a birthday party, so he's sad.
Sounds
He got a
pretty
job.
accurate, really. I mean,
He got a job. He's a writer now.
a service writer?
No, just a regular writer because he can
well,
do
that's
that
not
from
accurate.
home.
Oh, okay.
Well, he watches the babies or the toddlers while I'm off painting,
This is accurate.
and
My dream
That sounds
life.
about right. Yep.
Yeah, I don't have to put on pants all
but
day.
one of the toddlers is about to get taken away because
By
it's by child services. Cause
That
it's
exists
so,
in the game?
Yes, if you don't
Sounds like
Oh,
a
yeah.
terrible game.
Yeah,
if you
The
don't
Sims is
complete
great.
the baby's needs enough,
Whatever.
it'll get taken away.
Do they just catch on
and,
fire and turn into like a brick like the old Sims?
I don't know, but yeah. So one of the toddlers is broken and will not eat and will not sleep because it's so mad because it's hungry and tired, and so I've been just spamming it with naps and hoping that helps. But
I've never heard of anything like that before.
I haven't
just
picked it up.
spamming it with naps. Oh,
Yeah.
you mean your child? Yeah, my
Yeah.
child.
Spamming your child with naps.
I learned that some sizes and compositions of catalytic converters are worth substantially more than others.
There you go.
There you go.
I learned that the 61 through 64 Lincoln Continental actually had a monocoque chassis.
Really?
Yeah, I know, right?
It didn't have like partial subframes?
No, it's same thing with the early 60s Thunderbirds.
Is that why they could do a four-door convertible of it?
Yeah, because it was a monocoque.
I want one of those more now.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. And same thing with the Thunderbirds. Is the Thunderbirds had monocoques.
I don't care about those.
Well, no, it's the Continental is based off the Thunderbird chassis. It's a stretched Thunderbird.
Did not know
But
that.
I did that when I was researching because I just assumed that was a ladder frame.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, and then when I looked into it, yeah, it was monocoque, and I was gonna say like,
I'm sure a 60s monocoque on a four-door suicide door convertible would have been very rigid.
yeah, but compared to the ladder frame is still night and day difference.
Yeah, I'm sure it would have been much more rigid.
Yeah, and no, the thing was I was looking that up because I'm doing a consider the following on the Mitsubishi Debonair because I totally forgot they existed and I felt bad.
It's a cool car.
Yeah,
I'd like
so
to see some done-up ones of those.
yeah, there will be in my article on Japanese nostalgia car when it posts
I
at some
mean,
point
in
the
real
future.
life, Ryan.
Oh, and then you have to go to Japan and go to like the Moon Eyes Classic.
Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
I'd be into it.
Cool. Maybe, yeah, when we both make more money someday, we can afford to
Exactly.
travel a lot more.
That'd be really nice.
That'd be mint.
But there you go. That's what I learned is that the early '60s Continentals had body and frame chassis.
Monocoque.
Fuck.
Did not have body on
Monocoque.
frame.
Yeah, monocoque. There you go. The more you know.
All right.
I don't
Thanks
know
for
how to
listening.
talk. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.